about the letter that you had your students write, and with the one female student that you had, and the letter to her dad, I believe it was what it was, and then possibly the one about your wife, if you.
Yeah. Oh, and your story about when you had to find the words to.
Oh yeah,
for your professor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe just reiterate a few of the things that you said, like what's important to you about writing and things that you feel like, like you mentioned how that something that's failed to be taught nowadays is like your voice being in it, and the language that you use needs to be in the writing.
Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you the story about my professor again, and I'll talk about writing. So this way,
perfect.
It gets,
it'll be plenty. I'll just edit out all the crap, and I'm sure it'll just be like a 20-minute excerpt or some short video.
Very good. I get going, as you know, when I tell a story. So
it's great. No, it's great. It's actually perfect because then we'll be able to pick out what's what we want to put up on the app and stuff that we can cut. Good?
Yeah. We're ready whenever you are.
What, do I start telling the story?
Yeah, if you want.
Is that the deal?
Unless you need a better prompt.
Well, no, what you guys got? You're the maker.
We're just like, go. Go, Doug.
All right. Well, I have a unique relationship to writing. It is a relationship that is filled with failures. You write and it never comes out good enough, so you write again and you revise and you edit, and it's just one failure after the next. Jean-Paul Sartre spoke about the horror that artists feel in front of the canvas. This business about having imagined something and then the canvas defeats you because you don't know what's the first brush stroke. You know, how are you going to translate all these vague visions that you have about the world into an actual picture? And it's the same thing with writers. You move, your imagination moves you to a place that is totally unknown. It is vague, it is within the realm of the possible, and when you try to capture it, it defeats you. The success stories are very far and few between. My favorite success story is when I was asked to write a recommendation letter by my professor when I was a graduate student, a professor that I liked very much, respected very much, and I loved it that he asked me to write him a letter. I was honored. I decided I was going to do a good job. I decided I was going to use this letter not only to say good things about him as a professor, but also to kind of make him understand how much I respected him and how much I appreciated the way he taught. So I sat down to write the letter. As I said before, language defeats you. It does not give you the things that you want. And so I wrote and wrote and wrote and was disgusted to see nothing but typical phrases, typical sentences that I had seen, that I had heard about others putting in recommendation letters. But I struggled with it. I fought, I wrote a lot, I revised, and I tried to fight with language and make language do what I wanted to do. Which again is very difficult because writing has to do with capturing a version of the possible that doesn't really exist yet. In this case, defining the relationship that I felt I had with him, something that had never been defined by anyone yet, something that was unique to me, and therefore I had no guide or compass to go about it. But I was pleased after 1 week working full time on this. I was pleased that I came up with something I thought it was good. So I took it to him and said, here, please read this letter, and if you think it's what chairman expect to read, I'll be happy to turn it in, but I'm not sure. So you tell me whether you want me to turn it in or not. He said, no, I completely trust you, go ahead and turn it in. I said, no, you have to read it. I have lost track of what a recommendation letter is supposed to do. And so I made him read it. And when he read it, he got tears in his eyes and said to me, Takis, no one has ever seen what I was trying to do in the last 10 years here. And this is exactly the kind of teacher that I was hoping to be, and you have understood it. And he got tears in his eyes as he was telling me this. And I was absolutely thrilled to see that the words that I produced out of nothing were powerful enough to touch a person that was powerful in my eyes, was an important professor, and to touch him in a way that, you know, he would get tears in his eyes. So that's the story about my success with writing. The reason I remember it so vividly is because, as I said, these are the rare stories. You don't get very many. The usual story is you write and you rewrite, and you never quite get to the place that you want to get. The difficulty about writing is that writing allows you the possibility to define the world as you understand it, as you feel it. But then again, you are in effect creating, much like an artist, creating a version of the world that has not been articulated by anyone else. In this sense, you're completely alone. And that's what makes writing so difficult and so exciting and promising at the same time. That's it. Cut, and thank you very much.